This video is an explanation of the reading comprehension passage about social media. This could be watched in conjunction with any question about the passage. Of course, each question itself is explained in its own video explanation. I will say if you're going to do several questions in a row about this passage, I would urge you to do all the questions first before you watch this video, and that way you'll be answering all the questions with your own understanding of the passage. So here's the first paragraph. There are two paragraphs. The proliferation of social media tools allowing for communication within corporations has recently been the subject of two studies. So notice that the subject is quite specific. How is social media being used for communication within corporations? So we're not talking about the larger use of social media, purely how it's used in corporations. So the first study, Myers and Tasselman, find that such tools tend to exert a positive effect, but such an effect tends to diminish the larger the organization. So it's a very positive effect in a small company, but not a particularly positive effect in a much larger company. The two speculate. So in other words, that's their finding, and then they're speculating about why would this be true. The two speculate that one of the reasons is that the level of communication in social media presumes a level of comfort that is not consistent with that typically found in larger companies. Consequently, many employees are reluctant to use social media tools because they feel constrained by workplace culture that is not consistent with the social values these tools promote. Such a result undermines the very relaxed spirit that upper management hopes to foster by using such tools. So there's a lot going on in that paragraph. So notice a few things. First of all, in this first study, Myers and Tasselman, they were working together, find that such tools tend to exert a positive effect. So they measured this positive effect, and we don't know how they did that. Who they talked to, what data they were using, we don't know. But we know that they measured a positive effect. It was a strong positive effect for small companies, and then not such a strong positive effect for larger companies. And then they're speculating, why would this be true? So then they give this explanation. And so the second half of this paragraph is mostly their explanation. The two speculate. All this is their explanation. And so it's not clear that they actually found this in interviews. They're merely speculating that this is probably the case. But then they do point out, and it's a very interesting fact, apparently they know that upper management hopes to foster a very relaxed spirit by allowing their employees to use these tools. And apparently in a large corporation, there are other parts of the culture, at least this is their speculation, other parts of the culture that prevent this relaxed spirit from coming out. And so very interesting. So we have some facts here. It's a little unclear which parts are data and which parts are their speculation, but it seems that the explanation is more their speculation rather than hard data. The second study is discussed in the second paragraph. Gershon focuses on the extent to which social media tools have displaced other forms of office communication, notably email and in-person interactions. Additionally, he uses data collected from surveys from middle management and upper management to assess the effects, if any, that such displacement had. All right, so the first part of the data, the extent to which social media tools have displaced other forms of office communication. It's not clear how he's getting that data, but the second part is he's using surveys from middle and upper management. So that's interesting. Surveys from middle, upper, and upper management. Do middle and upper management understand how all the employees feel? Maybe, maybe not. Hard to say. But that's where he's getting his data from those surveys. His findings are twofold. Social media is in many cases deemed extraneous since it adds a layer of redundancy to communication. In other words, employees have adequately communicated something via traditional channels, but simply echo such communication on social network channel. So in other words, in terms of pure information, they're not necessarily that useful. They're kind of redundant because they just duplicate information that's already been transmitted some other way. However, Gershon found that social media tools fostered company culture because these tools provided employees a means of planning social events, something they might not have done using traditional forms of communication. So that's interesting, even though it's not necessary for the actual information, the information necessary to get your job done, it does foster company culture. And provides means so that they can plan social outings. So again, this is something that doesn't directly affect the bottom line, but of course, all companies like to have happier employees because happier employees tend to be more productive. So there is, you might say, an almost unexpected side benefit according to Gershon's study.